Quirce, returned by the flames. He makes quite an impression when he ambushes the penitent one in the depths of the wall of the Holy Prohibitions, and upon his defeat, Deo Gracias regales the penitent one with the story of what happened to Quirce that led to him lying in this prison, constantly burning in penance. It seems to be a simple, straightforward tale, but the story of Quirce goes deeper than just the events of his execution, as the circumstances surrounding his death are just as important to understanding his story and why the miracle chose to bring him back from the dead. It starts, as most stories in Custodia do, with the Mother of Mothers. In the country of Custodia, this religious organization held a powerful position over the populace of the land. One need look no further than their grand cathedrals and towering churches to get a sense of just how influential the order was in everyday life of custodians. The man that sat atop it all was His Holiness, Escobar, whose unique ability to commune directly with the miracle, to hear from the divine being directly from its figurative mouth, greatly fueled the fervor of the clergy who took his word, the word of the miracle, as proverb. Thus, the highly powerful and influential organization imposed rules upon the populace of Custodia, teachings from His Holiness that would help guide them to live faithful lives, and to ensure that the populace obeyed these rules, that someone didn't turn to the Brotherhood of the Silent Sorrow or became a wandering genuflecting pilgrim. The Mother of Mothers created a division of workers that would police the populace, the Inquisitors. These Inquisitors would track down heretics or blasphemers of the Mother's holy word and incarcerate them within a large prison constructed by the Mother of Mothers named the Wall of the Holy Prohibitions. Within the wall, the prisoners would be sentenced to a punishment befitting their crime, and quite often, that punishment was especially brutal. There's the sentence of Luz Divina, who had her eyes pulled from their sockets and locked within a dark room for her claim that she could see apparitions sent by the Lord. There was the time the Inquisitors took a baby from a mother's arms and immediately set upon burning her at the stake while the child was present, listening to the angry crowd lob insults at his mother as she burned away. There was the execution of a troubadour, Coque, whose only crime was singing a satire of the Inquisitors in public. There were some Inquisitors that were more lenient to the prisoners, such as Lasser, who even went as far to stop executions. But they were exceptions to the rule, as nearly all of the Inquisitors were more like Ashkan, who gained a reputation for cruelty, or the Great Inquisitor, whose immense sword of flame burned with such a heat it could be felt through the stone walls. In fact, Lasser's leniency gained him infamy within the Inquisitors, and he was eventually exiled from Custodia. While some of the prisoners within the wall were in fact dangerous criminals, most were civilians that were being unjustly persecuted, even some being completely innocent of any blasphemy or heresy. But true justice wasn't what the Inquisitors were concerned with, only the confession of some imagined crime, an admission they knew they would inevitably get after enough torture. This made the Wall of the Holy Prohibitions an unjust and oppressive place, full of cruelty and pain. What started as a means to protect the miracle's word had instead been warped into a means into which the Inquisitors tried to enact its will. They were taking on the role of the divine being, doling out punishment and pain for some perceived slight on the part of the condemned, instead of letting the miracle work its will upon the populace as it saw fit, an act that itself could be considered blasphemous. Which brings us to the story of Quirce. Like so many others, Quirce was unjustly condemned to execution by the Inquisitors, the method of which was determined to be burning at the stake. It proceeded like all other immolations, with the hungry flames quickly consuming the body of Quirce as he screamed in immense pain until he was left a smoldering pile of ashes. And that's when a miracle occurred. The flames roared back to life, screams filled the room again, and rising from the ashes like a phoenix was the man who had just burned away. With his rise from the bonfire, Quirce received a new epithet, returned by the flames, and a new penance. There aren't inquisitors in the wall of the Holy Prohibitions anymore. The halls have been left to prisoners that have managed to get out of their cells, while those unlucky enough to be trapped in theirs wither away in helplessness and succumb to the conditions within. Deep inside the prison, the son of the bonfires still burns, wielding the large sword of flames formerly wielded by the great Inquisitor, using it to enact his vengeance against those that dare blaspheme against the miracle. However, every story has its end, and Quirce's came in the form of an unassuming penitent, a seemingly unspectacular knight that had the power of the one force that could end Quirce's punishment behind him. One day, Quirce sprang a trap on a man that explored the deep reaches of the prison, engaging him in a fierce battle, using his great sword of flame to show the penitent the wrath and hunger of fire. The man fought back with a blade of his own, yet Quirce was unconcerned, knowing that if he succumbed in battle, the miracle would ignite his remains, burning him back to life. The penitent did get the upper hand, ending the battle with a stroke that took the last bits of energy from Quirce's body. However, this time, the flames that consumed his body didn't spark back to life. The sword the penitent wielded was mea culpa, the sword of guilt that was carried within it a fraction of the power of the miracle, of the power to pull from punishment. Thus, when his life was ended by the powerful relic wielded by the one chosen by the miracle, Quirce was finally granted an end to the constant suffering he had been enduring for so long. He was allowed to finally find peace on the other side of the dream. The story of Quirce is certainly an interesting one that has deep ties to the area he's found in. When he's first encountered, it's tough to understand what he's doing deep in the depths of the prison. But as you come to understand the history of the Wall of the Holy Prohibitions and the terrible atrocities committed by the Inquisitors there, you begin to understand why the miracle brought him back, to show those that tried to imitate it what real punishment was. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them. But that's that, so thank you for watching, and see you later.